Alright, what's going on, boys? It's time to do one of these videos, and okay, anyway, so how this is gonna work when I do these videos is I'm gonna show you what this kaiju counters, who he can give a fight, and who he just completely loses to. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that on screen now. As you can see, easy is someone that he counters, that's easy money. Intermediate is someone he can give a fight, and it's gonna be hard, but you can still win it. Hard is gonna be basically that's almost impossible. Like you should not win that matchup basically against your average player who has half a brain. So hard is basically I'm gonna just deem it kind of impossible basically. Intermediate is just it's gonna be hard, but you can still win that fight. So that's why I'm gonna teach you how to use the kaijus that I'm breaking down. I'm gonna teach you how to use the maximum value and maximum tools to overcome the other opponent. So pretty much, yeah. Let's just get straight into it because I'm excited for this one. And by the way, I am joined by no other than my son, West Coast Village. I'll drop his channel in my description. So let me demonstrate to you the two beams that he comes with. He has the regular beam, which you beam in the air. That's normal. Then he has what I call parked beams, which is going to be your most important tools for every single one of these fights. I'm going to teach you how to use these. Alrighty, so here's what you'll see most people do when they do the park beam right here. This is what they will most likely do. They'll just do that, maybe hold still, move around a little bit. That's not what you want to do. You want to do this right here. Boom. See how he flinches? That's going to be the key in most of these matchups, so let's get to it. Alright boys, make sure you get your notebooks out because this is the most important tool that GHIDORAH has. I'm going to show you how to use the heads for the park beam. This is what gives him a chance in every single match. So pay attention to the middle head and the right head. Don't pay any attention to the left one. The left one literally does nothing for you. So you're going to want to get this timer that I'm going to give you that I use myself personally to use because it's part of the best one. So you want to use the middle head for at least 2 seconds and then the right head. So you're going to rotate with L1. So the timer you're going to want to do, you start this timer when the first beam makes contact. So it's going to be like a 1, 2, turn. Like that. It's going to be like that every single time. So that's the timer that I use in my head. It's going to be 1, 2, turn. So the moment the first beam makes contact, that's when you start counting in your head. So it's going to be like this. You're going to fly, 1, 2, turn. And that's going to get a flinch off. Now, it's very important that you know when to use this and the distance that you have when you're using it, because sometimes you won't even get the flinch because you're at a certain distance that it won't work. But if you're like right here, that's an easy flinch. So 1, 2, turn. It's an easy flinch. Now the problem with this is that if the Heisei you're fighting against is at least half decent, they already know how to get you out the air. So I'm going to show you an example of what not to do. If you fly straight, that's an easy knock out the air. You lost health, you lost value, you got nothing out of it. If you keep doing that, you're going to lose. So the way to get around that is to fly at a certain angle. Because if he beams, it's going to miss. Unless he goes for a sweeping. So let's go ahead and get into that. Alright, now let's say the Heisei already caught onto your strat. The second option he has to hit you out the air will be a sweeping. That's not going to miss. Unless you go for a square while you're in the air. So if you do it the moment you see him doing it and the beam's about to touch you and you square, you're going to dodge it every single time. So that's what you're going to want to do. Now let's just say the Heisei is a little bit more smarter and has the rest of his brain. He's going to do a roaring beam. And that's going to hit you literally 100% of the time if you don't square in the air. So pretty much if you square the exact moment the beam is going to come out, you'll be able to dodge it every single time. So you see how it's coming out? Boom, you dodge it. Now let me show you another example on why the regular beams is a little bit better than the park beams. For example, if you're doing a park beam from this far, it's not going to reach. So if you see him going for a rotor beam, just cancel it with the regular beam, because that forward head reaches a lot farther. Now you don't want to use this in combos because you are running the risk of actually flying over the Heisei exactly like this. And it's not worth it. You just lost the damage that you could have got, and it's free damage for the Heisei. Even if you have him in the corner, don't ever go for it, because then it's also, you're going to get hit, and you lose value. If you have a Heisei or any kaiju in the corner, parked beams is going to be your freaking heaven. Because look at this right here. You can control the Heisei as hard as you want. The RT will not touch you, and you'll get all this damage and a flinch off. And if you have extra bars, you can go for it again if you want, or you can go for a flying triangle. So another reason why the parked beams is just way better. So I already taught you guys how to use the beams and everything, like the importance of it. The next thing is if you're somehow face to face with Heisei now and you have to stand your ground, I'm gonna teach you how to use his hand-to-hand moves. So Ghidorah has this one move, the back circle, which you almost don't want to touch because it's not worth it. It wastes the gauge for one, and it's just easy to get out of. Now, it's very important to learn distance with Ghidorah when fighting hand-to-hand, because as you can see, your square is not gonna flinch him or push him off. So if you're at the right distance and you time it just at the right moment, you're gonna flinch him. So boom, and then boom, death. Now, the Heisei can be smart and either take the damage or R2 right away, depends on how they do it. So they can just late R2 or they can even early R2 and they get value out of it and they get a free beam. However, if you go for a square and then a circle, it pushes them away so the R2 actually won't even touch you. So another thing to learn is not to be face to face with Heisei, because that happens. You always want to be at an angle, because if he comes in at you at that angle and actually hits you, it's going to push him off. So that's going to be easy work. And then as for this one, you can get faked. So you always have to be on the ball. It's very important to learn distance and timing when fighting him hand to hand. I'm also going to show you what happens if you actually mess up the parked beams. So if the Heisei is actually smart, what they'll do is actually roar and just completely block your beam, and it's a free roaring beam right after. Or the other option, they could turn around and R2, and that's easy R2 damage. So that's why it's very hard to play Ghidorah against Heisei. But against other kaiju, we'll speedrun that. But like Heisei, it's gonna be tough because it's probably the toughest one that you're gonna have. So we covered beams, the parked beams, the regular beams, close combat. Now we need to talk about how to finish a match. If you do your circle at a certain angle, the left hit will actually clip them. So if you need to get that one last final hit to finish the game, you could do this, but they could also just roar. Another thing about Ghidorah is if you're caught in the corner, you're kind of fucked, because that happens right there. So do me a favor, don't get caught in the corner. Keep moving, keep flying. Now another unique thing about Ghidorah is he has the left head. If you roar beam, it extends out farther than the rest of them. So you could actually use that too to finish the game. So you have the regular beam and you have the roaring beam. Whichever one you want to do, whichever one you feel like you're going to catch the Heisei off with, you can go for it.
One more thing I forgot to add, actually two. Don't ever use your R2 backwards, because that's just not going to work. That's a free combo and you just wasted a gauge. The other one is a bug and it's a glitch. If you beam and R2, the moment you get knocked out of the animation, you can actually glitch it and get infinite beams. And that's pretty much game no matter what, every single time. This even works for Mecha King Ghidorah. But again, it's a bug, it's a glitch. It's not reliable. I wouldn't recommend doing it. I do it just because it could be like a last resort thing if you're losing. It will definitely bring it back. As you can see, AJ here was doing good. I had my last resort. I was like, fuck it, let's do it. It worked. Pog comes in and tries to stop it and gets absolutely obliterated. Like, look, it just permanently stuns him. That's it. There goes his life. Bye bye, GG's. Thank you for trying. Go home, cope. So basically, yeah, that's the last resort. Don't ever do that.
He didn't
like,
even
you could
me.
do
That
that
was
if you
considered
want.
flawless.
It's just if it fails over and over again, you're gonna lose. But pretty much that concludes this whole entire video. Pretty much everything that I taught you in this video, just put it together, practice it, practice using the park beams, because that's the most important thing to do. Get that timer down, learn your distance, when to square and stun, and pretty much use your beams. Just pretty much learn distance, positioning, park beams, and that's about it. You can put those tools together against any kaiju and it should work, other than the ones I listed as hard. That's going to be impossible. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I will be releasing more videos like this after I retire, of course. But yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace.